are with Southern Maryland Roller Derby team. And what we're going to do is we're going to start and let them introduce themselves so that way the audience can kind of associate the name with the voice and make that match and make it a lot easier for them to listen through. So we'll start with you.
I'm Erica.
I'm Teresa, but I skate under the name Wonky Donkey, otherwise known as Donk.
Donk. Now you have a nickname?
Yeah, I skate under the name Rekka, so kind of similar to my
All right, does
name,
everybody have nicknames?
For the most part, players can choose to have a nickname or not. It's totally up to them.
I would assume that everybody does, because I mean, why would you not?
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Do you have to come up with your own nickname?
Yep.
Some do. Some of us get dubbed. So, yeah.
All right. So that threw us off. So the most important thing we're going to start off with, and I know there's always changing and so forth with rules, but in general, people know what roller derby is, but what are the rules? How do you score points? How do you win? And what are the positions? Let's go over like basics. So let's do rules first. How do you score points?
Rules to score, it is your hips have to pass your opponent.
Okay.
Just the hips. In our rule set, hips have to pass the hips of the opposing player.
And it's usually a circle,
It's
right?
a big oval, yes.
It's a big oval. Okay. So you don't have to because in my head I'm like, you have to cross like a line over and over again. That's
yes.
not, okay.
There is a jam line and there's a pivot line, and that's our starting box. So our jammers, who are your point scorers for that round, have to be behind the jam line.
Okay.
And then all the other players are in that square.
So there's two lines to start. So
Yes.
why? So they make the jammers stay behind?
Yes.
So that way they have to catch up and then start jamming.
Yes.
And they're the ones with the fancy star on their hats, so you can't miss them. They've got like a helmet cover on,
And
a star of the color of their team.
poses, yes.
All right, that is pretty neat. So you have jammers. All right, so there's a group that does all the scoring then. Not everybody can score.
No, just your jammers.
Just the jammers can
Just the
score.
two jammers, from one for your team and one from the opposing team.
Okay. Oh, so there's only one person per team that can score points.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else is kind of looking out for that person and trying to help them get through.
Yes.
So how many jammers are there?
There's two jammers on the track at a time, but everybody jams at least
Everybody
once.
jams. That should be your slogan right there. We got it. Everybody
miserable.
jams.
It's miserable.
Yeah.
How many people are out there at one time?
10.
So 10.
So the two jammers, and then the rest are 8 blockers.
Blockers. All right.
So 5 per team.
5 per team. How do you know how many points? Is it like a timed, or do you have to score so many points?
You can score as many points as you can within 2 minutes, or until the lead jammer calls it off.
Well, how can they do that?
If they get through the group first, which is what we call a pack. So if the jammer gets through the pack first without any penalties or going out of bounds, the ref will call them and say, "You're lead jammer." And then when you're watching videos of derby, then you'll see that the lead jammer is usually who they're pointing to.
Whoa. Okay.
And they call it off by tapping their hips 4 times.
That's great. Or else there's a time limit then, right?
It's 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
And then you can end it sooner. Like if you're
the jammer,
the lead, and you feel like the other team's gonna catch up to you and you want to end it quick, you can.
Yeah. It's what we call hit it and quit it.
So many more questions.
Yes.
All right. So it's 2 minutes long. Is it like inning? Or like do you have like multiple innings or rounds? Halves. Okay.
2 halves. 30-minute halves.
All right. So it's 2 minutes, then break, and then 2 minutes, and then break.
2 minutes, a 30-second time for that line to go off and the new line to come on.
Okay.
And then so they play for 30 minutes. So that's your first half is 30 minutes like that.
Oh.
And then usually most teams do, when you have it's a 15-minute intermission.
Okay.
Halftime, and then you come out and play your next 30.
Okay, so, all right, so there's 2 minutes at a time, 30-second breaks for 15 minutes straight.
30
so you have
minutes.
30 minutes. Well, 15 and then halftime and then 15?
No.
30 and 30. So it's an hour.
Yes.
Okay.
So you definitely want more than 6 people on your team, so then you can switch out and at least have 2 minutes to rest or whatever it may be.
Because it gets pretty intense, I safely assume.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you can just keep scoring points over. What is the usual score? Is it usually like 150 to 190? Like, what does it look like?
We've seen some bouts where it's like 300 something to
Holy cow.
100 something, 200 something to like 12. It can vary.
Okay, and then you said penalties.
Yes.
I didn't even think there'd be penalties.
Oh,
What is?
there are a ton of penalties.
Oh my goodness, tons of penalties. All right, so
And there's specific rules for the penalty box too.
there's a penalty box.
Yes.
Oh, this
So
is
if you get a
serious.
penalty and you
You have-
don't follow the rules, then you're in there longer. So it's
Yes.
a lot of rules.
So if you,
Is it like hockey where they stick in the penalty box for a
Yes.
minute? Okay,
no, yes, it's a minute now.
it's a minute. Okay,
Yes.
so does it depend
Oh,
on the
sorry,
infraction?
no, it's 30 seconds now.
30 seconds.
When I started playing, it was a minute.
30 seconds. Well, I'm sure it would be between 30 seconds and a minute. How's that?
Yes.
And does it depend on your infraction?
I
Or does it matter? It doesn't.
It doesn't matter
It's a
on the
flat line.
infraction unless you get an in sub or you get
All right,
two
what's-
penalties.
All right. So some of the penalties. In sub. What's an in sub?
Insubordination.
That
So
seems like the whole theme of the whole thing, though. No?
You
Isn't
would
that
think
what you do?
Yes. But if the ref is calling you and you choose to ignore it,
Okay.
or you do what we call an egregious hit on somebody, they can expel you for that, or they can give you an in sub, and that is a full minute penalty.
Full minute for insubordination.
Yes.
It sounds like what you'd get from like a private school when you were a kid. Like timeout for insubordination is
Yes.
kind of sounds like. All right. So what are some of the other penalties, the common ones?
Anything neck up, like if
Yeah,
you
or
get
a
concussions.
high
there,
block,
yes.
neck
Yeah,
up.
I get that.
The biggest one, and we always joke about this, is you'll get called for forearms, and that's basically here, and it's like, well, but I didn't have them on my forearm; they were here, but it looks like they're on your forearm. So the big joke in Derby is, well, what is a forearm?
What's a forearm?
And you can't elbow. Which
No elbows.
Sometimes that's
That's
hard
gotta
to
be
get
tough.
used to.
Yeah, because I mean
It is.
you're on skates, so like you lose your balance and stuff. I bet a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we try to practice and what we try to teach is called chicken wings. So if
Yeah.
you got somebody on your back, go like this, so your fists are pointed in, so that way they're always hitting here. So if they roll up and around, then and you can drop it
Huh.
or scooch them back behind you.
So you do a lot of like just elbow work. It's like an offensive lineman in the NFL. Like you just do a lot of elbow work and moving people around.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So what are some of the other ones? Common.
Direction.
Tripping.
Yeah, like if
Oh,
you go
tripping could get you expelled. That is,
Tripping.
Then if you
Yeah,
go the wrong way or
considered a
go
low back.
backwards.
yeah.
Oh, can't go the wrong way. That makes sense too. They'd be head-on collisions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, it depends on how it's done.
Jeez, oh man. All right.
And I've even got a penalty one time where I fell and then I went to get up, but
Yeah.
when I got up, I don't know what happened, but
Oh, you got
got a
turned
penalty.
around.
You
I
Face
might
the
have
wrong
hit
way.
someone or
Mm.
maybe
Yeah.
got in front of someone that I should have gotten behind. I don't know, something like that.
I think I have video of that, and I'm still not sure on that one.
I can't be easy finding refs. I mean, I can just imagine like refs knowing the rules enough to.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
But Maryland has a really, really good group of refs.
Wow.
And at least in our area, from Baltimore on down to us, DC, you'll pretty much run with the same group of ref crew.
Okay. All right. So you're mentioning areas. How big is the league? How many teams are in this league? Do you like play the same teams? Do you travel around?
So each team is in their own league.
Okay.
So Southern Maryland Roller Derby, we are our own league.
Okay.
And right now we only have one team. But our goal is hopefully to recruit enough to where we can have two teams within our league.
Okay. And then you go to DC and Baltimore and these other places to play.
Yes.
Who are the like really good teams right now? Besides you, of course. We're gonna go with you.
So going through WIFTA, you're looking at some of your bigger teams is Gotham Roller Derby up in New York.
Oh, New York. You go all the way to New York to play?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but if you're up in there and you play roller derby and your insurance is up to date, you can contact them and go have a practice with them.
Oh, that's
or
neat.
If they have clinics going on, you can pay your fee, make sure your insurance is up to date, and go do those clinics.
Okay. But you mostly stay locally, like DC, Baltimore.
DC, Baltimore. We've gone to Southern Delaware.
Okay.
So.
And there's Team Maryland.
Yep.
But that's you've got to qualify extra and like try out to get on the team.
Oh, it's like an MVP or a VIP team or something.
It's kind of like the All-Stars.
Mm-hmm. That's the word I was looking for. All-Stars.
Yeah.
All right, so you travel around. Is it mostly like once a month, twice a month, weekends? Is there a season or whenever you can schedule it?
Whenever. Our season's pretty much all year, but there's definitely, if you want to make rankings, there's a time frame. I'm not sure what season it is for, what the time frame is for rankings, because I've never been worried about that with our team. But yeah.
All right.
I lost my train of thought.
No, that's very good. You're good.
I'm trying really hard to remember
what the time frame is.
Yes.
Real quick, where can people find your schedule?
Right now we don't have a schedule.
Oh, okay. All right. Usually
usually on Facebook or on the website.
Okay, and your Facebook is just Southern Maryland Roller Derby?
Yep.
Okay, so they can check on that all the time. You probably have schedules and tryouts and all that stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're doing a lot of rebuilding right now.
Yeah,
since
COVID really, COVID killed a lot of derby teams.
That's not one we would have thought of. It would have been like the roller derby girls have it. That you're like, oh, it helps restaurants and all. Roller derby is definitely one that got overlooked. That's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of teams closed down during COVID.
How often do you practice?
I would like to get us back to twice a week.
Okay.
But at least once a week is perfect.
Do you have like a place do you practice, or do you just wherever you have some space? Somebody's garage. Like,
we're looking.
We're looking for space right now.
There you go. If you're listening and you've got some space for the roller derby team, there you go.
We would really love to have some space. The problem with the majority of the spaces lately has been because of COVID. A lot of the places that are big enough for derby are trying to make their money back and stay afloat. So they're wanting like $275 a day or an hour, and you're looking at a team of 20. Who, derby is for the skater, by the skater. So unless we have donations from sponsors or we do a lot of fundraising, there's no way we can get that money otherwise to pay that kind of a fee up front.
Gotcha. All right, so when you do have practices, what do practices look like? Like, what kind of things do we do?
We do warm-ups, and then we'll do individual skills. So I've been helping with the coaching for the last couple of years. So we'll do a lot of footwork drills, agility drills, and then we'll do partner drills. So that way, I've had, 13 feet all to myself. Now I have to share 13 feet with 3 other people. Mm-hmm. And then we'll
falls and stops. Those are some of the main things.
So you teach yourself to fall properly. Yes. That way you can pop back up.
Yes.
Yeah, and you don't injure yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. How to fall small so you don't injure somebody that's next to you or coming up behind you, and you don't fall forward, hard enough to knock the person in front of you down.
No, that makes sense. All right.
And then we do laps too, because
endurance.
You have to get 27 and 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
pretty fast.
So basically a mile and a half in your skates.
And it's just regular skates with the four. You can't have like inline skates, or what does it look like? All right, so it's just gonna be regular roller skates.
Yep.
Quads.
And then what else? Elbow pads, helmets,
mouth guards, wrist guards, and knee pads.
And knee pads. Okay, so that's pretty basic though.
Yeah.
All right. Now, different positions have different equipment, like in some sports, or it doesn't matter.
Blanket right across the.
Okay.
But if you want extra stuff like
shin
butt
guards
pads or shin guards or something,
pads or a face shield, then
Oh, face shield too.
Yeah, as long as the reps can see through it. and
Okay.
it can only come from the nose up. It can't cover the whole face.
Okay. All right. So when people come to these events, kind of walk me through. How do they look? What can they expect? Do they just walk in and you're just like warming up and stuff, like a game? Like what does it usually look like? Like a day of an event.
I'm usually running around with a
Well,
my head cut off.
we're getting there several hours before because we normally have to set up the floor. Like if we're in an open space,
Yeah.
we've got to put tape down or something down to have measurements of like the size of the floor,
Okay.
or for the track. And then we have time to warm up, and then people will start coming in. Like, you know, they'll come in, kind of have their seats, and then both the teams they'll have their own space. They'll do a little bit of practicing each, and then we get started on the track.
Does it have to be like a wooden track? I always picture wooden track, like a wooden oval track, or can it be anything?
It can be wood. It can be polished concrete. It can be sport court.
Sport court. What is that?
Like what you see at Leonard Hall, the
Rubbery stuff.
Yeah.
Got it.
So.
And then is there usually like music and concessions and things for these things?
Yes.
Like
music, concessions. There's vendors.
So it's an event. It's an all-out. It's an experience.
There's people running the scoreboard, helping in the penalty box.
We've got our EMTs there.
EMTs, and everything. Yeah, and the like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's usually an hour long at least. Probably a little bit, maybe an hour and a half if you have halftime and stuff, right?
Halftime,
yeah.
Official timeouts, if somebody gets injured, which you never hope happens, but sometimes it does. But yeah, it can go to an hour and a half to 2 hours depending on timeouts and things of that sort.
Who on the team spends the most time in the penalty box?
Neither one of us.
Yeah.
Imagine that, the two sitting here aren't the ones who's spending time in the penalty box.
Started a while ago, yes. I earned the nickname Cut Track Donk because I would not realize that my skate went off the track and then I would bring it back in. That's a cut track.
Because you went out of bounds.
Yes.
See, I'm catching it.
Cut track, then you have to come in behind
the pack.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to restart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes, like if the jammer goes out of the opposing team, you can skate backwards really fast. So then they have to come in way further behind.
There's a lot of strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you run like plays and stuff? Like how does that work? So so you practice plays and you run certain formations, I assume.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
are there names to them? You don't have to tell me your strategy, but I want to know the names.
They're basic strategies and formations throughout Derby, but each team calls them something different.
Yeah.
So like we have one that Virginia Roller Derby League, VRDL, in Australia started, and it was called, they called it the Tornado. And that's how we adapted it to our team, and we put our spin on it, and we call it the Smurgnado.
All right, so you go around and see other teams play, or you watch it on TV, or like where you just scout and check it out, and are constantly involved, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So YouTube, Twitch, going to help. I do a lot of officiating for other teams as well, so I go out and help them, so I see other plays and how other teams are playing as well.
And you can also go to scrimmages, like if a team has they'll do a themed scrimmage, like I don't know, one year we did
that's coming
like
up
a
right
Game
now.
of Thrones thing,
and
we call it Skate-a-thrones. So then
that
people
one was a
come
lot of
in,
fun to do.
but it's like not everyone has to come in. It's just whoever's interested, and then it's not, it's not an actual bout. It's just the scrimmage piece of it.
Yeah,
all right, so they're called bouts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I missed that part.
The games,
Yeah.
Our games are called bouts, and then like she was saying, for scrimmages, you end up going, oh, I want to go do this scrimmage, and then so like 150 people sign up. And then y'all all get put on different teams, and so you end up skating with other players that you don't skate with every day.
So it's just practice. Yeah.
Meet a lot of new people. You might learn some different skills that you see from them, or they learn from you.
Are your events or bouts also kind of themed once in a while, or are they just pretty straightforward, pretty serious?
So one year, all of our bouts were based on Kiss songs. So
it's not what I'm expecting.
Yes.
Not at all. Not
so,
what I thought.
And then when we did our bout posters, we had all of our skaters dress up, and then we did like the cover albums.
That is nice. That's interesting.
So,
do you get together and like come up with like theme ideas just to make it fun?
Sometimes.
That's great.
Sometimes.
All right, so how do you get started with roller derby? Like it's not something you do in high school. It's not something you do in middle school. Is it just other family members do it, or how do you do it?
Well, for me, I got started because one of my friends saw like an ad for it on Facebook and said, "Oh, they're doing roller derby tryouts," and we both knew how to skate. So I came in. I really didn't know a lot about roller derby, so I didn't know what to expect, but I knew like, okay, I love skating. I grew up with it. So you go through a boot camp, so like 3 different phases of it to be able to actually be on the team and play. So there's a lot of things that you have to meet requirements for. So we did our did that piece of it to get on the team and learn all the skills. She didn't end up continuing because she didn't like the hitting or being hit.
Physical.
Yeah, so the physical piece of it. But yeah, that's how I found out about it.
All right, and then how did you get started then?
Oh, gotta age myself here. I used to watch it back in the 70s and 80s. But I
was regular TV?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On Saturdays and stuff like that. And then the 90s, I was raising my kids, and then kids finally graduated high school, and my husband's like, let's figure out something to do for date night. And then he's like, what do you think about roller derby? And I'm like, yes. So he took me to a bout, and I'm enjoying it, and he's like, are you okay? It looks like you're not having fun. And I'm like, just leave me alone. And then I was talking with some of the girls afterwards, and they're like, well, there's a team down in your area that's just started up, and they're starting boot camp in a couple of weeks. So they gave me the contact information for Southern Maryland Roller Derby, and I've been here for 11 years.
How long has it been in Southern Maryland?
So Southern Maryland Roller Derby is the first team that started down here in Southern Maryland, and they all got together 2013. No, 2012 they started planning it. 2013 was the first boot camps.
Okay, got it. So it's still pretty young. For our area, yes. Yeah.
There are other teams that have been going for 15 years now.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Because some of the ones you used to watch on TV in the 70s and 80s, that must have been like bigger cities or bigger.
That was when it was a little more like WWE. There was a lot more elbows and people, and that was when it was also on a bank track. So we play flat track.
Okay.
There is still some bank track out there, but you really have to travel for it.
Okay. I figured that'd be way harder bank track.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
So I've done bank track twice and absolutely love it. Huh. There's no stopping in bank track.
Oh, okay.
And the way the track is set for bank track, it just wants you to go. It wants you to skate.
It's just probably harder to find those kinds of floors, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the big holdback, right? Yeah. All right, so we've gone over the rules and the penalties and the penalty box and how people can attend and find your information and the schedules and how you got started. That's a lot. It's fascinating because you don't see it all the time. It's not as a common thing as like going to watch a football game or a baseball game. It's very unique.
It does.
It does need to be.
Pretty amazing. Where do you have any bouts down here in our area?
So before COVID, we did.
We
were at Capitol Clubhouse up in Waldorf.
Oh, okay. All right. And you're trying to get into that space again? We don't know yet because the schedule's not out yet.
So that space is way out of our price range now.
Got it.
So we were working with Leonard Hall for a while, but with everybody starting because of COVID, they started to find other things to do, and people have moved for their jobs and all of that, so that
Having babies.
spaces and having babies, so that spaces become out of our price range now as well.
Gotcha. So you're still looking for places.
We're still looking for
you still have a
places.
team that practices every once in a while, and
We're trying,
yeah,
but without a space, it's hard.
gotcha.
So we try to keep up with everybody on Facebook, and we have our own little Facebook group to see how everybody's doing and to keep tabs.
Gotcha. But you could do, I guess, travel a lot. I guess wouldn't be any home
Yes.
games. You could travel and do stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
Some other areas might have more.
Yeah. So like if I wanted to, I could go and practice with Patuxent Roller Derby or Frederick Roller Derby or Fredericksburg
Got
Roller
it.
Derby.
Or go to a
DC,
scrimmage.
or go to a scrimmage up further north of us.
Gotcha.
And then Free State's a really good place to go and scrimmage
So
and practice.
do you ever announce those ones on your Facebook page too? Like if people wanted to go check it out and maybe see some of your players somewhere else, like in whatnot, do you ever make those announcements up there as well?
I don't know if we have lately.
Okay.
So I know we used to at one point in time.
Okay. The people should just follow and you'll start throwing stuff out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Southern Maryland on Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So follow them. You have a website or anything now?
What is our website?
I think it's Southern Maryland
Oh, good.
Southern
Yeah.
Maryland
It's just the
Roller
same all the way
Derby.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So if you want more information, make sure you go to one of those places, see their upcoming schedule when it comes available and practice times and all that fun information. And if they wanted to go see matches, obviously right now they have to go out of the area, but are those schedules like anywhere? Like can you just go to like a database of like where do you find other stuff?
So I find it all because I usually follow a bunch of other teams.
That's right. You are the ends. You have the ends, so you know. But let's say the common person gets inspired by this and they want to at least go see a match.
You can pretty much just type in to Google roller derby in your area.
Got it. And that's the best way? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. They can do that.
I wish there was a bigger way
Yeah.
to do it, but that's so many teams pop up and so many teams fade away that it's hard to have a big
uniformity
database like that.
Interesting. All right.
And if anyone knows about any practice spaces in the Tri-County
There you go.
area,
Always recruit and get some space.
Always.
Yeah.
And so for our team, we play through WIFTA rules, the women's flat track roller derby. And so as long as you identify as female and you're 18 and over, you can join our team.
Okay. Do they need insurance or?
As long as they have their own personal insurance,
Got it.
they can get started with boot camp.
Cool.
But WIFTA does have their own insurance.
Got it.
That
Team insurance.
they
basically.
ask you to get. They ask you to buy your own individual, and then the team has to buy their
For events.
insurance as
For
well.
the events. All right. That's
So
great.
it's like three layers of insurance.
All right. So if you have any more questions, go to their Facebook and they can send messages. If we didn't cover anything, you still want to know more, or the website. But Facebook's probably the best way to ask questions and do
Yes.
stuff. Yeah. Because we went over as much as we could, but there's always something that
Oh,
I don't think of.
there's a lot
always
more.
something.
We've just barely scratched the
Yeah, I'm sure. So, but anyways, we appreciate your time today. I definitely want to try to get an event. That'd be fun to go take the whole family to check it out, and hopefully we get some space for you, so that way you can do an event
that would
here.
Be awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
that's-
would be.
18 and older, because I would love to see us grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you in some space, hopefully, in some events, some bouts. We hope you see some
Yes.
bouts soon.
Oh, I miss Bonnie.
Yes, that would be great.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.